Hey, this is Nat, and we're off our couch in the Florida Panhandle in Pensacola, Florida, historic Pensacola, because we are taking a trip back in history, way back, a long time ago, when Pensacola was first settled, through guided tours, visits to museums, and living history reenactments. And you're off the couch with us. That means you are joining us too. We're going to learn the history of this intriguing city, and we're going to play too. So we're going to have lots of fun while we're learning throughout the 8.5 acres of the historic Pensacola, which consists of historic homes and museums. We want to thank Visit Pensacola for their assistance with this video. And before we go too far back in time, let's talk admission, let's talk discounts, and let's talk value. There are discounts available such as military and AAA. The website link is in the description for prices and details. Some museums, the Pensacola Museum of History, the Pensacola Children's Museum, and the Pensacola Museum of Art are open on Sundays and have Sunday-only ticket options. The 1 ticket, 7 days ticket, as it states, gives you 7 days, a whole week, to explore the museums, take part in the guided tours, and roam the historic village. So the 1 ticket gives you access to all of that over a 7-day period. It is quite the value. We'll start our journey back in time with a guided tour in the story of Tristan de Luna. De Luna, Spanish explorer and conquistador, in the year 1559 brought 1,500 soldiers, colonists, enslaved people, and Aztecs to Pensacola Bay to form a settlement which was actually the first settlement in present-day America. Pop quiz, did you all know that? Every Monday I post a Did You Know fact on Instagram, something that we come across on our travels, and that was one of them. I did not know. My guess would have been St. Augustine, but St. Augustine is the oldest continually occupied settlement, the first permanent settlement, because just after a month after arriving, after De Luna and the people who were with him reached Pensacola Bay, a hurricane devastated the settlement, and after 2 years the settlement was abandoned. During the tour, we learned about the short-lived settlement and the dives that have taken place to retrieve artifacts from this settlement. In addition to a deep dive into history of this historic settlement, visitors are guided through the many important buildings in historic Pensacola, which includes 4 buildings only accessible on the guided tour, like the Lavalley House, the oldest standing example of French Creole cottage construction in Pensacola, and also the oldest standing home in Pensacola at 219 years old. The Old Christ Church, one of the oldest surviving church buildings in Florida, erected in 1832, also served as a hospital, barracks, and stables for federal troops during the Civil War, and 3 former rectors are buried underneath its vestry. Also on the tour is the Lear Rochambeau House. This lovely home is designed to represent Pensacola history throughout the 1920s. The Door House, what we're about to enter now, can also be seen only on this tour. We do have to ring the doorbell first though, because the original owner of the house, Miss Clara Barkley Dorr, still resides here because this home is haunted, like a lot of old buildings, right? This home was built in 1871. When Mrs. Dorr's husband passed, he actually received all of the money, the entire estate, I should say, which was uncommon during those days. Something I did not know. Normally, widows would receive a quarter of the money. The remaining money would go to the business partners, but Miss Dorr received it all and built this home, which is the best preserved example of post-Civil War classical revival architecture in the Pensacola Historic District. There is so much interesting information being shared on this tour, including why Pensacola even started becoming a tourist destination, why and how air conditioning was invented. It wasn't just the heat, also had to do with yellow fever, and about prohibition and the prevalence of speakeasies. These are stories so fascinating and so rarely known that my 14-year-old son was retelling the stories. If you love history, if you love thought-provoking stories, you will love the tour. The tour actually begins in the historic village, but you can still swing by the historic village when they are not conducting tours and experience how life was in this area as a Spanish colony in the early 1800s. living interpreters go about their daily tasks, also giving information about early Pensacola and the chores necessary to run the colony. For my kids who love flowers and gardening and asking lots and lots of questions, visiting the historic village was something that was really fun. There are other historical houses available to tour, and at your own leisure. They are accessible without the tour. There is the Julie Cottage, the only surviving example of architecture reminiscent of the Creole cottages of the New Orleans French Quarter. The cottage is named after Julie Panton, a free African-American woman who purchased the cottage after being freed from slavery and rented it to other African-Americans. It is also believed that Panton actually assisted other people who were enslaved in gaining their freedom. The cottage is styled to represent a working-class African-American family during Reconstruction. There's also an abundance of African-American history within this building. Another historic cottage, the Manuel Barrios Cottage, built around 1888, is now a 1940s USO. The idea to establish the USO, an organization dedicated to providing support to U.S. military and their families, was proposed prior to the United States entering World War II. It was founded in February of 1941 and provided recreational, social, and spiritual support for service members during World War II. Next door is the John Appleyard Cottage, located within the Macmillan House. The author and historian John Appleyard tells stories of Pensacola throughout its 450-plus year history. On a rainy day like this, somewhere cozy to sit, a fireplace, and fascinating stories, this is the place to be. And this feels about right too on a day like this. Honestly, I love tea, so I would love this any day. London came across this quaint, lovely shop, the Old English Creamery. The Old English Creamery serves sandwiches, scones with clotted cream and jam. I never had that or even heard of it before, but it sounds fancy and good. I want to try it. They have sausage rolls and shepherd's pie and, of course, tea. I love all the teapots and teacups around the shop. Tea is not meant to be rushed as far as I'm concerned. Tell me how you enjoy your tea, though. I prefer to take my time, and we still have more of the historic village to get to, so we're making a note to come back and experience this afternoon tea at another time. So we are walking to the Tivoli house now, which is the ticket outlet and museum store for historic Pensacola, and was once a boarding and gaming house and tavern. I love how these historic buildings have a before and after. How many of you are imagining along with me, conjuring up images of these buildings' past lives? Let's keep the imagination going because we'll check out our first museum, the Pensacola Children's Museum. And we definitely need our imagination for that, right? The museum is housed in the Arbona building, once a saloon on the first floor and a residence on the second floor, and it is geared towards children up to 8 years old. So this is a job for my daughter and I. 450 plus years of history is spread over 2 floors in a kid-friendly way with a focus on interaction, imagination, and educational play. On the second floor is the hospital, the kids' clinic. Future doctors, nurses, and medical professionals can try their skills in standard procedures and medical emergencies. Everything looks so cute and so playful, but highly professional too, all at the same time. Isn't that something? So many opportunities for imaginative play, and my fellow parents and guardians, you're going to want to take so many pictures because there's so many cute photo opportunities in here too. There's a Colonial classroom, the Land and Sea Wonders of the Gulf Coast exhibit. Isn't this cool? My daughter and I are just loving all of the colors. And Publix. Yes, Publix is here. I'm going to get some multitasking done now. I'm going to go ahead and get these groceries out the way. Look at this selection. Looks so fresh too. What we expect from Publix. This store pretty much has everything that you would expect to see at Publix too. You got your buggies, cute little shopping carts. We have reusable shopping bags. It's just too cute. Okay, we got to check out and make it to our next stop, the Museum of Industry. Within this museum, there is all the information, all the details about the commercial fishing, brick making, lumbering, and railroad industry that thrived in Pensacola in the 19th century. Not only is this museum packed with information, the visuals make it really engaging. It really draws you into the time period. There are also hands-on exhibits. And the train too, which the kids love. Trains are always cool, so it's great for the adults, great for the kids too. The Museum of Commerce is right across the street, so remember how we were just imagining how things were? Well, this is an 1890s era streetscape reconstructed within this space. It's all laid out for us so we can give our imaginations a little break. The gas station, the leather goods shop, the hardware supply store is all here. A party is being held here soon, so you do see preparations are underway. Check this out though before we head out, a vintage historical Pensacola trolley car. And Pensacola's very first traffic light from 1926. Okay, so we'll head out now and we're going to head into the Pensacola Museum of History, housed in the former Pensacola City Hall built in 1907. Expect a full walkthrough of the history of this beautiful and fascinating city within the 3 stories of the building. Learn why Pensacola is known as the City of 5 Flags and anything else that hasn't been covered at other exhibits or museums. I think all of your curiosities and all your questions will be covered in here, and some extra you didn't know that you even had. At least that's what happened to us when we came across the Wunderkammer. If I'm mispronouncing that, it is German and it translates into English as a room of wonder. I read that this is how some museums got their start, from someone's personal collection. In this Wunderkammer, each item has a story connected to Northwest Florida. I'm curious what the connection is here. I've seen realistic depictions of Robert Wadlow, the tallest verified man, in every Ripley's Believe It or Not auditorium that I've visited. I would think this would be in one of those Ripley museums. And this, oh my, that is disturbing. Well, speaking of Wunderkammer, I'm loving I get to keep practicing this new word of mine. It is a really cool word. Anyways, there's a lot to see in this museum, both permanent and temporary exhibits. But I want to show you all the collection of Martin Trader John Wiseman. Trader John was a bar here in Pensacola from 1953 to 2003, and the bar was decorated with all of this military, particularly naval aviation memorabilia. Trader John would trade drinks for military memorabilia, and the collection grew to over 10,000 items valued at more than $2 million. And can you believe this is not even the whole 10,000 plus item collection? Looks like it to me, but it is not. This is just a small portion, 15% of the original collection. Wow. The bar was a big tourist attraction in Pensacola, a popular hangout spot for the nearby military, and quite a few celebrities have walked through the doors of Trader John's as well. Tell me in the comments who you're most surprised by. But do you know who else has rubbed elbows with Trader John? London and I, of course. Here we are with the Trader John cutout, getting our picture with the Pensacola icon, and it is going on our newsletter. Did you know that we have a monthly newsletter where we offer travel tips, travel stories, and travel inspiration based on our experiences, which is delivered directly to your inbox? If you're yet to sign up, do so please. The sign up link is in the description and on our website at allfirecouch.com. We have another museum, one last museum to visit, the Pensacola Museum of Art. In its previous life, this building was a jail. The collection within the museum now focuses on modern and contemporary art from the 19th century to present. And in this museum, there's an opportunity to become art yourself. Well, we're taking advantage of that, of course. London is over here having a blast. One final part of historic Pensacola that I want to cover and mention is the Colonial Archaeological Trail. The Colonial Archaeological Trail consists of outdoor exhibits pertaining to the Spanish, British, and American occupations of Pensacola, and it's just another reason why you should visit Pensacola. If you're a history lover, a student of life, there is so much to learn, so much to discover here. We want to thank you all for getting off the couch with us and discovering historic Pensacola along with us. We want to thank Visit Pensacola again for their assistance with this video. Tell us, have you visited historic Pensacola? And are you planning a visit to historic Pensacola Village? Do you plan to take on all the museums in the tour? Or is there a museum or an activity that you're particularly interested in? Of course, these are just some of the activities here in historic Pensacola that you can do. There's even more to partake in, so tell us about your experience. We'd love to hear it. And if you are planning an upcoming trip to Pensacola, keep getting off the couch with us. Each and every Saturday, we're off our couch for a new adventure, and we are still in Pensacola, in downtown Pensacola too, for our next adventure, taking on a scavenger hunt. We're looking for pelicans. They're located all around Pensacola. We saw one already in front of the Pensacola Museum of History, and we're on the lookout for more. So we'll be taking you all around Pensacola with us. It's fun. It's a great way to see this beautiful city. Join us. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe please. Keep getting off the couch with us. Thank you as always for getting off the couch with us for our trek in the historic Pensacola Village. Thank you for all the likes, comments, shares, all the feedback and suggestions. All of you getting off the couch with us week after week is what makes these adventures possible. So thank you. Until next week, click on the video to see another one of our experiences. Thanks for watching.